What's up guys? In this session let's create one more application, and that application is Notepad. So I'm giving you a preview of that demo application that you will create or develop in the end of this video. So this is that, and I have a rich text box here. I can type anything inside this rich text box. I have a 4 menu bar here: file, edit, font and help. If I select file, I have a new tab here. If I select this new tab, what exactly it will give you? It will give you a prompt, and that prompt says if you want to save this text that is written in this rich text box. If I say yes, it will save that. If I say no, then it will clear the text and will give you a new text file. Okay, the perception is something like that. And then I have open. Open will basically, it will allow you to open another text file with the help of Openfiledialog control. So if I have this text file, I can say, I'll select it and I'll say open. So it will open that text file. And if I go ahead and I have a save button here, when I click on this save button, it will allow you to save this text to any other file. So if I say desktop and I'll give a name here, references, and then if I hit save, you will see in the desktop there is a references text. See here, if I click this, you will see the exact text that is written in our notepad. Okay, so if I come back to my notepad and I'll select exit, exit will close this complete application. So you will leave that application with the help of this exit button. Then I have an edit, and edit have so many options: cut, copy, paste, undo and redo. Well, basically these options are going to be work similar, or the functionalities are going to be very similar as it is written. So cut will cut the text, copy will copy the text, paste will paste that text, and then undo and redo are somehow changes the effects. Okay, then I have a next tab, and that is font. So if I say font, I'll select modern number 20 as my font. I'll say bold as my font style, and if I say 26 as size, and if I hit OK, you will see the reflected version of the text. Okay, now let's say I have written somehow, this is my first post for my notepad, and if I say font and I go ahead and press this color, and if I say orange and if I hit OK, you will see the text is going to be changed from black or blue to the color that you had selected in the color dialog box. Okay, then I have this help tab, and inside that I have about, which will show you a message box which is helpful to give you the personal information that you want to show to the user. Okay, so this is the preview that you're going to develop in this video. So let's get started with our Visual Studio. So I have a new project here. I need to create it, so let me create a new project, and if I'll say this is going to be my notepad test, and I hit OK, I'll close this. So within fraction of seconds it will create a new form. I'll resize it, and the first thing that I need to do is I need to change this form 1 to notepad. So I'll click on this form 1, I go to the properties of this form 1, and the text property I'll change. So I'll say notepad. I'll write notepad here. I'll change that text. The next thing that I need to do is I need to drag and drop two controls. So I'll open the toolbox. So first control that you need to drag and drop is rich text box. I'll drag and drop. You can find your rich text box under the common form control of Windows application. So I'll resize my rich text box. I'll resize to the extent. Okay, so now there is one property of this rich text box, and that property name is doc, which will give you an exact, it will fill up this gap. You can see there is a gap. Okay, so I don't need that gap. So I'll select that property. Let me select doc property. Here you go. You have a doc property. I'll say this one, and you can see there is no gap now. So this is the we are clear cut with this rich text box. And now drag and drop another control, and that control name is Menustrip, and that will allow you, or that will give you here all your menus like file, edit, font, and then help, and many others. So you can find your Menustrip inside the menus and toolbars of Windows application toolbox. So I'll drag and drop here. So you will click here in the type here, and then you will say file, and in the below part you will say new, and then you will say open, and then you will say, let me write save, and the next thing is exit. Okay, the next step is going to be edit, and then next is cut, and then copy, and then paste, and then undo, and then redo. Okay, next tab is going to be font, and font is will give you font file dialog, and then there is color. Next tab is going to be help. Okay, and then help is have about. Okay, so we are clear cut with our UI for this notepad, and let's get started to code it. So I will press F7 and I enter into the code section of this application, and now the first thing that I need to create here is this new button. Okay, I need to give a functionality to this new button, so it will give you a space to write a new text. So I'll double click on this button, double click on this new button. It will generate a new tool strip menu item click event, and inside that what will I write is I need to clear that rich text box, right? So I'll say rich text box dot clear. There you go. And now you will see when you run this application, you will write something here, and when I say file and new, it will clear that text. And one more thing we need to do with this application is we need to resize our fonts here, so that it gives you a good view. So I'll select this rich text box, I go to the properties, and I will find that font. Okay, font, and I will say give me a 14 size. Now this will give you a clear-cut view. Okay, next thing is you go to file and press this open. Okay, you double click on this open button, it will generate open tool strip menu item click event. And now in this we will write some code, and that code is basically we want to open one file dialog. What that file dialog is? Open file dialog control. Okay, so I will say here open file dialog ODF equals to new open file dialog. And now I need to check a condition that when this open file dialog pops up, if I press OK button, that what I need to do. Okay, so I'll say here ODF dot show dialog, this is my method, equals to dialog result. If my dialog result is pressing OK, then what I need to do, I need to load one file that my open file dialog gets, it opens. Okay, so what exactly we are doing with open file dialog, we are opening another text file, right, in our notepad. So I need to load that file, and how exactly I can do is with the help of this code. Rich text box 1 dot, I'll say load file, and my file is basically here. I'll first of all say ODF dot file, that my open file dialog control select that file, so it will select this file from this line of code, ODF dot file name. And then I'll say see here what tooltip gives you an option. It says rich text box stream type. So I can you see you are using here file handling. Okay, file handling, that stream type. So I'll say rich text box stream type, and my stream type is plain text, so I'll only select plain text. Okay, I'll only select plain text, so dot plain text. Okay, next thing is once I select that, I need to give this to my rich text box. So I'll say this dot text equals to, it is coming from ODF dot file name. That's it. So when I run this application, this open tool strip menu item allow you to open any other text file. So you see here, if I run this application and when I click on file open, you see there is your open file dialog control, and there is an option open. Open means if I am pressing OK. So let me select any text file here. I have this build.txt, and you can see this is my this is the other text file that I had selected. So from this line of code, this and this, you can open any other text file in your notepad. Okay, in the same way we are coding the save text button, this save tool strip menu item. So I'll double click on that. It will open up save tool strip menu item click event. And now in this section I need to save that is already there in the text file. Okay, so if I write something inside this text, I need to save this at the desired location. So how exactly I can do is with the same code that I had written here. Instead of open file dialog, I will open save file dialog. Okay, so I will say here, oh, okay, I had deleted something. Oh, let me Control Z. Okay, so now here I will say save file dialog SDF equals to new save file dialog. They are the same thing, right? Now I will say if condition I'll say SDF dot show dialog if I open that save file dialog, and then if I press OK button, then what I need to do, I'll say dialog result dot OK. Then what I need to do, I'll say here the same exact line that I had written for open file dialog. Instead of load file, I need to save the file. So just the difference is, instead of load file, I'll write here save file. Okay, so here I'll say textbox1 dot text textbox1 dot save file, and inside that I'll say sdf dot file name, and then I'll call the rich text box stream type. So rich text box stream type dot plain text. So whatever the file that we are saving, it should also be in the form of plain text. And in the last we'll say this dot text, it should be coming from sdf dot file name. That's it. But now there is one more thing that I need to put it over here, is that if I write anything on that text text file, if I write instead of plain text, if I write some other thing, if I drag and drop something here in this rich text box, and if I try to save it, then this application should not allow that, right? So any other extension other than .txt, I don't want to allow it. So I need to use some filter in this save file dialog. So I'll use that filter sdf dot filter. So I'll apply a filter here. I'll say text document, and the extension that I'm going to use here, always I'm going to use .txt. So I'll write something like this. I'll say dot and then .txt. This is going to be the last part of the filter. Okay, so it will append every time whenever you save the file. So you can see if I click on if I run this application now, and when I write something, this is my first demo, and if and if I try to save it here, you see text document.txt. so this thing is coming from that filter. Okay, so ultimately this file is going to be saved inside with the extension .txt. Okay, now the next thing that we need to do is we are coming onto this exit button. So I'll double click on it, and I'll simply say application. Application means whatever the application that we are running right now, so that application dot exit. So this will it will close your application, or it will close the current instance of your application. So when I run this and I'll file, and when I hit exit button, it will exit it. Okay, so go to the next go to the next tab. The tab is cut. So I'll double click on this. I come back to the design. I'll double click on the copy. I'll come back to the design part. I'll double click on this paste button, and then come back, and then undo, double click, and then double click. Now you see in this code, this edit code, this is going to be the simplest code we had written. Okay, so for cut section, if you want to cut any text from the notepad, what thing you can write is very simple. Is rich text box 1 dot cut. That's it. That's so simple, right? For copy, just replace that cut with copy. So you will see here rich, where is it? So I'll write here rich text box 1 dot copy. Okay, next the same way I will say this is for my paste button, so I'll say rich text box 1 dot paste. Come on. Okay, next thing is for undo, so I will say rich text box 1 dot undo, and then go for redo thing, then rich text box 1 dot redo. Finally we go for next tab, and the tab is font, and I'll double click on this font button, so it will open font tool strip menu item, and inside that we need to open font dialog control, right? So I will simply call my dialog control Fontdialog fd equals to new Fontdialog. The code is going to be the same, right? See, you can see the similar lines we are following from the above. So Savefiledialog and then Openfiledialog, we are creating the object, and then with the help of new we are creating the instance of that, right? And then we will say fd dot font, or let me write if the dialog result is okay. So I'll say if condition, and then fd dot show dialog equals to dialog result dot okay. And then here, if it is there, then I'll say rich text box 1 dot selected font, selected text equals to fd dot font. So what this line says, that whatever the font you are selecting from this font dialog, it should come to the rich text box. Okay, it should assign to the rich text box. So simply that line is telling you that. And then now I will call fd dot font equals to rich text box 1 dot selection, or let me write it as selection, where it is, selection font. Oh, it's hard to find somehow. Okay, now here it is not selected text, actually it is selection font. I'm so sorry for this. Okay, so now what it says, whatever the font that you are selecting from this font dialog, please assign it to the rich text box 1, I mean that the size that you had given. Okay, so now here when I run this application, you will see it will give you the reflection of that. So font, and it will pops up the font dialog control, and let me write something first of all. So this is my text, and when I say font, and my font is MS Outlook, I'll make a bold and text size 22, and I hit OK. You will see it will not give you any reflection, right? It will not reflect here. So now when I select the complete text, and when I hit font, and then I make monotype cursiva and italic bold, and then 26 size, and when I hit OK, you will see the reflected version of the text. Now we don't need to do that, right? I mean we don't need this. This functionality is somehow obsolete, because we need to, I mean, select all and then we have to perform this. This is not okay. Even in the Windows application, I mean even in the Windows operating system Notepad, this is not the way we are, changing the font. This is not the way, right? So what exactly we can do, a simple line you have to attach. Instead of manually selecting all, I mean we can give the automated version of that. We can simply call that select all function here. So I'll say rich text box 1 dot select all. You're playing safe here. Yeah. So now when I run this, you will see it automatically select all the content. So whatever the content you are writing here. Okay, so when I hit font, and when I say font, it will, when I say modern number 20, bold, and the size is 26, and when I hit OK, you will see it automatically selected, and it gave you the it gave you the changes or the updations that you had made in the font dialog. Okay, so you can simply just put one line before the fd.font, that please select all, whatever the content or whatever the text that is there in the rich text box. So the next the tool strip is color. So I'll double click on this color. In the same way that you had written in the form of Fontdialog, the same way I'll write for the color dialog. So I'll say color dialog. Please call that dialog control cd equals to new color dialog, and then I'll say cd dot color to select the color, and please put it inside the rich text box. Assign it to the cd dot color. So rich text box one dot selection color. Assign it to the cd dot color, and then we will again swap to rich text box one dot selection color equals to cd dot color. Okay, so let me check the condition of this color dialog. So I'll say cd dot, you remember this code, right? This is somehow the easiest code that you had seen, because we are writing the same 3 lines again and again. So dialog result dot okay, and then here I'll say rich text box one dot selection color. Okay, and I'll say here cd dot color. Okay, same thing that you had done here. So again I need to call this rich select all function, rich text box one dot select all. Okay, so now let's run this application and let's see if he provides the same functionality or not. So here, this is my first C# program, and I am afraid from that. So you can subscribe my channel. Okay, so this is my this is just for the sake of this notepad. Okay, so when I select font and I'll say color, and when I click on any of this color, let me call red color, and when I press OK, you will see the reflected version or the reflected text, whatever the change that you had done in the color dialog. Okay, so from black to red. So I hope you understand it. Now let's modify the another thing. Another thing is this help and this about tool strip. So I click here and I'll change the code here. I'll say message box dot show. Inside that I will write version 1.0.0.0 and then n and created by TechnoCube. Okay, created by TechnoCube. So when I run this and I'll say help and about, it will pop up the version 1.0.0.0 and created by TechnoCube. Oh, there is a little bit difference. There is a gap. Let me clear this. How to do that? You can here. Now when I run this, it will not give you any gap. There you go. Okay, so this is how you can create your new the notepad. Now there is one problem with this application, and that problem is basically whenever you click the new button. See here, when I run this, so I have a text in this notepad, and when I say file, when I say new, it will automatically clear all the content that is there in the rich text box. But what if I need that text? I need to save that text. It is this notepad application or this demo application is not showing you any prompt to save this text. But if you go for our Windows application notepad, there is an option. See, when I have this and when I go file and when I say new, there is this prompt, right? It says save, don't save and cancel. I need this. So how to create this? So let's create this functionality in our code. So go to your new tool strip menu item where you had written rich text box one dot clear. So now here I need a dialog box, right? I need a dialog result. So first of all, let me call dialog result. That's a dialog result dr equals to, it says, so my result is going to it is coming from message box. So I'll call here message box dot show and I'll print a message. I'll say do you want to save this file. So I'll ask to user that do you want to save this file, and then I will say the options. I'll say save, and then I'll give buttons. So message box, oh I'm so sorry, then I'll say message box buttons dot yes no. So this will give you the prompt of yes and no. If you want to save, then yes. If you don't want to save, then no. So now, and then next thing is I'll say message box icon. So I'll say message box icon dot question. So it will ask you the question that you want to do this or not, and then I'll simply print this all thing. I mean this dr result. So my result is going to be saved inside this dr. So if it is yes, then there must be a if condition, and if there is no, then there is an else condition of that. So let's create that counterpart. So if dr dot equals dialog result dot yes, if it is yes, then what I need to print, I need to call a method. My method name is, let me call my method name is my save, and then in else condition what I can write here, I will simply clear the text, right? That's the same exact thing we need to do. So I'll cut this rich text box one dot clear. Instead of that, I will paste inside this else condition. So if it is yes, then I will call my save code, and if the button is no, then I'll simply clear that. I mean the blank, I mean the my notepad or the rich text box, right? So now I need to create this my save. Actually we already have created, we just need to modify it. Then you see here this save function, how what code should I written, what code should I write here in this space? Actually I need to copy this code, this save file, right? Because exactly whenever user press yes, I need to save that file, that text, right? So I can simply copy this and paste it over here, right? I can simply do that. But instead of that, let me create a method for that. So to create a method, what simple thing I can do, I will copy this thing, whatever the code you need, you copy it, right click on that, and there is something called as refactor. You go to refactor, and there is this extract method. So when I click extract method, and I'll say my save. So this is my function name that I already had created. So I press OK. So this code, this my save, I mean that code that you had written in the save tool strip menu, it comes into the method, and method is passed inside this save tool strip menu item. I hope you understand it. This is simple. I mean you just swap it, or you just had migrate your code inside a function, just nothing else you had done. So now you are correct with your functions. My save, here it is also my save, and there is your functions which is having the save file dialog. So now when I run this, and if I have I mean please, okay, so if I have this content, and when I say file and new, it will prompt you, it will say do you want to save this file? If I press yes, then it will pop you the save file dialog, and when I say desktop and I'll name it, okay, it will allow you to save that file. That's okay, completely okay. And now when I run this file, and when I say new, and if I say no, then it will clear the text from this rich text box. So this is your simplest the Notepad application that you can create for small end applications whenever you are when you are at the learning stage. Okay, I hope you understand it, and we will see some more applications in our later videos, and I hope to see you soon. And please don't forget to subscribe my channel, and thank you so much for watching me.